Well, hello there. Hello there. Here we are again. It's the 21st of July. And here we are again doing some more work on our little scene here. So there you are. Let's see. We've got the scene animated. We're started to paint it. And so we have frames yet to paint. So let's see here. We've got only 2 frames painted out of 32 frames, but actually it's more like, I think it's 16 frames on 2s. That's right. So let's see, we're going to add a drawing after here. Ding. Let's see. So, if I can remember, yeah, so let's see, that's our line right there for the skin. Okay, right. So I'm going to go big on these. It's just easier to deal with the inking when you've got a bigger image. Another 200%, that'll make it a little better. We got our clean line for the inking. There we go. Ink line. Da-da-dee. Okay. The line, the eye line is inked, or the eyes are inked where they contact with the skin. Remember, when you're making a line, an ink line, you want to try to do it in one stroke if possible. If possible. It isn't always easy. Your hand might shake a little bit. But if your hand shakes a little bit, that's okay. You know, like I said, to some degree, I think these little inconsistencies are kind of nice in a way because they exemplify the fact that we artists are making something. You know, it's like part of me still feels that even in our wonderful technological age, where so much stuff is we have so much help from computers and whatever, it's still a good idea from time to time to um, show that things are made by hand. I just think that's a good practice. So I don't back off from things sometimes having a little bit of a flub in them because it just proves that, well, that's done by hand. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Let's see. The eyes are black, right? Are we on the top? We're on the bottom. Okay. Let's see. So I'm talking to myself about where the line is. That should be. Well, we'll put this on the top. Yeah. So that as it intersects that skin line, if we decided to put white in the eyes, then we'd be fine. We wouldn't be spilling the color out because the lines have to always be connected. There we go. All right, let's see the. Yeah, okay, so that's all red. So that's on the top. See, when I can see the line, it's a little easier to deal with when I can actually see it. Yeah. Let's see, does that go below? Did I make that determination? Gosh, I don't know. If you're wondering what I'm doing here is I'm trying to see what the pants are doing down there. Let's see. I'm going to have to go find the image. Where's my? All right, there it is. Let's do that and bring this up. Bring this in. Let's see where the image is. Oh, I see. Yes, pants are like a light blue. Okay. Right. So, all right. Okay, now that I know that, that's all I needed to know. Okay. So, gotcha. All right. So, let's see. Back to here. Oh, that's right. The dreaded stripes. The dreaded stripes. Let's see. Okay. This red line is on the top. Okay. Okay. Boom. So then I'm going to go over the ear here to put that ear line on the top. There we go. Okay. What's the brush? Oh, the brush is pure brown. So that's this brown here. Is that on the top? Yeah, it is. Okay. I'm going to do it in here. So it looks like a... Okay. So that's on the top. Okay. And, all right, well, I'll just be on the top on these, and then go back with another line there. Yeah, okay. Right. Okay, now, so let's see. With the pants, it looks like I've got... Yeah, okay, I see what I've got here. So I've got a... I'll put that behind. I've got a very light blue line here for his pants. All right. Okay. So let's see on the paint. Oh, we got a light blue line there too. Okay. All right. That's good to know. All right. So that means this line here is also going to be a light blue. Right. Okay. But the paint, that's this color here. So we're going to put that on the top. So this is going to be on the top. But it's going to run into that brown. So that means now we got to put the... Come back with the brown again. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back to that. Let's see. Do we want to copy? Well, let's just use a straight line for... Oops, wrong color. Let's get the color of the paint area. That. And this. And that. There we go. Okay. Okay, so then we want to put that color in there. Brown should be here. Flesh color for the flesh, right? Well, the hair color. That's the hair color. And I need to get my brush to draw behind because we got some little cracks in here. Oops. Oh, what's going on there? Why is it not? That's strange. Let's blow that up a little bit. We're supposed to be going in behind that line. So, brush size, so it should... Why is it not? That's odd. Blow it up a little bit more. Let's see what's going on here, 3%. Yeah, see, that should cover that in there. It's not doing it, though. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. Let's see. Okay, well, it did it, so So fit window. Okay. So let's see. Ding. The brush. Then on the sleeves. So we've got red, 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 and red. And then the lighter color here. So it should be dink, dink, you're right. Then on the pants, it's going to be the same color as the line. Okay, so let's play that. Yeah, that looks good. I'm going to step through it maybe and make sure. So, yeah, we may get to the end of this thing and discover that the red the red area is the stripes might still be strobing a little bit, but that's the way it goes. You know, sometimes it's in your favor, sometimes it's not. Let's see. Okay, so let's go back up big on. We'll go up to 200 and do our face. Are we behind? Yes, we're behind. Okay. Whoops. Oh, I got my straight line in there. Oops. Got to go back to my wavy line. Boom. My hand-drawn line. There we go. All right. All right. Yeah, it is not easy to start a line and just stay. It's tricky. It is tricky. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's easy to do because you can see me flubbing it a little bit myself here. But it's usually not going to be enough to be a real issue. You know, I mean, the great inkers at Disney's, most of which were women, did a beautiful job on a lot of the early Disney movies where they were inking with real ink. So, you know, if they made a mistake, they'd have to wipe it out. It was that was a mess. I did some inking when I first started as an animator. Um, I did some inking, and it is difficult. But I enjoyed it because I don't know, it was just something about doing something where you had to put that kind of effort into making a final thing. I've always appreciated the work. You know, it's like a love letter to something. I mean, to yourself, I guess, as an artist. I don't know. So we'll put these on top. So this is going to be the eyes. So work right over that brown line. And the same thing with the top eyelid. Remember that with the brows, you're trying to kind of taper them a little bit. You know, I know you all aren't doing exactly the same kind of image that I'm doing. I'm just talking about how I'm doing it. See how the eyebrows taper. They're thicker at the front end here, and then they kind of taper as we go in. Let's see. Okay. The brown. So let's do the brown line there. That's on top. So we want the hand color to go. Wait. Oh, we want the hand color to go on top. There we go. Okay. Right. And then here, let's see, what are we doing? That's the brush inside here. I think it's just inside. It's not the outside line is going to be like this. Yeah. That goes to there. Okay. It's going to go there. So we're going to get that coming down to here, there. Then the brown line is also, I got to go back over that too. Yeah. Okay, the red is going to be on top here. And, oops. Yeah, see, this is a real good example of one where I'm having to kind of uh, I'm having to kind of make this line, but you see, my hand is in the way as I'm drawing the line down like this. You see, so I can't see the line. I have to kind of look underneath my hand to see that line. It's just annoying, but that's pretty much what I have to do. And that's for me to try to make that line straight. And I just always am just hoping that I'm making it straight, you know. But I know there's always the possibility of flubbing it a little bit. But I guess what I'm saying is I don't worry about it too much because it's like, well, you know, the inconsistency is not going to be that big of a deal. Okay, so let's see. All right. Okay. So we'll go back to fit the window. And let's see. We'll get our line tool for this stuff. Yeah. You could copy paste the previous ones to do the same thing here if you want it. Okay, so let's see. We've got paint bucket, so we'll do the brush. Skin color. Let's see, I need to get a brush in here and go right in there and get that. Wow. Boy, it's really... Let's see, I guess I gotta blow that up a lot, huh? Yeah, it's funny. Usually it just falls right in there just fine, but alright. Just gonna make me keep blowing you up. Alright, I'll blow you up 300%. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, boy, that's really weird. Usually it fills right in. Try it some more. Let's take it up a little more, 400%. It's about as big as I can get it, I guess. That seems to be fine. Okay. Take it back down to fit the window. Okay. Hair color, so paint bucket, hair color is his. There. Looks like we got a couple of same little things there. Let's just take them on up. Let's take them right on up here so we can get in here and get those little areas. It may also be this pressure sensitivity of my stylus, maybe. Let's see. Let's try the mouse and see if it's better. Yeah, it doesn't. I guess it's a little better. Alright, so hit the window. Okay. Okay, the paint area, the red. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and then the pants. Okay. Right, let's check. How are we doing on time? Yeah, we're okay. Not too bad. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. So, yeah. Yeah, we may run into a little issue with the stripes, but yeah. Not a lot. For what it ends up being in terms of the time on the screen, I'd have to ask myself just how important is it to me to be too worried about it. Part of me just kind of says like, well, I can worry about it, or I can just forget about it. So I'm gonna forget about it. Unless I really feel bad about it, like I've got to make a change. Oops, I've still got my. Let's see here. Back to the wavy line. Um, story. Or I'm sorry. Rough Animator does not have a tool in it like Photoshop, where you can create a line that you can curve, and I forget what that's called. But there is a line. There is a method wherein you can do like curved lines that are really perfect, and I don't know what that's called. I forget. Anyways, I don't. Rough Animator doesn't have that function. I don't believe. But I don't really, like I said, I don't know that you really even need that, to be honest, because, like I said, I think there is something kind of nice about the fact that it's not perfect. That there's a little bit of, this the hand created quality. So what if it's not perfect? So what if the line flubs just a little bit? I think that kind of adds to the charm of it a little bit. It can, anyway. I remember the very first time that I saw the Xerox technique that Disney was doing with. I think the first time I really recognized it was on Jungle Book. Oddly enough, I mean, Jungle Book wasn't the first feature that they did that with. The first feature that they did that with was 101 Dalmatians. But I don't know, for some reason, I didn't pay as much attention to it in 101 Dalmatians. However, in Jungle Book, it was a lot more noticeable. And I think the reason why, I think, was that with Jungle Book, you had an illustrated style that was very lush, like a lot of the old Disney, and in the backgrounds, for instance, were very, they had a very lush, very beautifully illustrated quality to them, which always worked well with the inking, you know. And here they were Xeroxing with the Jungle Book. So whenever you got to the scenes where characters were kind of sketchy, you could see the sketchiness of the line. And I remember that the first time I saw that, I thought, wow, that's kind of, I thought, well, it's kind of cool. It's like, yeah, it's kind of neat. It has a nice look to it. So I thought, well, you know, certainly a different way of approaching doing the animated line. And I read someplace that I guess Walt Disney did not care for the Xerox very much. That was not his. He didn't like it. He liked the inking. He liked the old styled inking more than he liked the Xerox. I think the animators liked the Xerox primarily because it showed off their actual line work. So that you would see what the animator actually had drawn. Because, well, as much as possible, that is, at least what the cleanup assistant was doing. Because what was happening, what had been happening for years, was that when you saw a Disney film, you never really saw the animator's drawing. Not really. Because the animator's drawing was going to be inked by someone. So it wasn't, what you were seeing was a cleanup of the animator's inked. You were seeing an ink line over the animator's drawing. So the animator's drawing wasn't the final thing that you saw on the screen. The inker's work was what you actually saw. It was a tracing of the animator's drawing. Actually, it was a tracing of the assistant's drawing. The assistant would do a clean line over the animator's rough line, right? But then the um, inker would go over that, so that you never were really seeing um, the people who were doing the initial work from what the animator did were going over what the animator was doing, so that you never really saw the actual animator's drawing. You never saw it. You were seeing an ink line or a tracing of the animator's drawing by two different people. You had a tracing that was happening from the assistant, who would do the first time to clean that rough animator line up. Then you had another tracer doing the ink line for the cells that were going to be painted. So it was twice removed from the animator. Um, but everybody did such beautiful work in those days that it's like, well, I don't think anybody was really complaining that much. But it was like, it did seem like that. I could understand when I look back, when I remember when they first did the Xerox, I really understood why Disney didn't like the um, um, the Xerox. It made sense to me. It's like, yeah, he's kind of right. It's like this Xerox line is it's nice and everything, but it kind of it almost is a little bit too sketchy for you know the final product is sort of demanding this kind of more finished look to it. And so in a sense, what they were giving the audience was a not nearly as a tidy kind of image, that by the time you got the final image, um, it had changed. It had changed what the artists, what the animators were doing was being modified quite a bit, so that by the time you saw the final thing, it's like it wasn't exactly that. It's the drawing obviously is there, but it's just modified so much by so many other people. However, really, in reality, I guess you could say it was improved, really, because the the clean and the paint and everything improved the artwork. So anyway, it was the long-winded way of saying well things. Now a lot of times, well, of course, 2D animation is kind of, we don't see as much of it as we should see. Well. Thankfully, independents are doing 2D animation. So, all right. Well, we're going to stop here. So, um, off we go to more stuff. Let's see. Let me bring that up there so you can see the whole image. Let's see. Where are they? Let's see. Bring that image up to there and play. Yeah. Yeah, it's looking good. So we got a few more frames that we've painted. All right. All right, folks. Well, hey, have a great day. What's left of it. Of course, it's early in the day for me. It's 4 o'clock. So, anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. And and once again, be thankful for the talents and gifts that the Lord has given you. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.